Welcome back to episode 32 of the Block Runner podcast. I am your host, William, talking crypto with Iman.
What's up, guys?
Thank you for being here. And today we have a special guest, passionate about the creation of unique analytical tool, joining crowdsourced predictions with the artificial intelligence, also known as hybrid intelligence. He is responsible for the development and implementation of new trading strategies and is the Chief Investment Officer at Cindicator. I want to welcome Nodari to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out and joining us and talking about Cindicator. But before we talk about Cindicator, I want to kind of get right into it, and I want to know a little bit about your background. I want to understand like how you got into finance, and you have a couple of different financial degrees. Like what fascinates you about finance?
Yeah, the most fascinating thing for me is that trading and finance is basically an intellectual game, right? So you have to be the smartest one and usually the fastest one to win in this game. And for me, being somewhere in Russia, in Moscow, and playing this game with the best minds in the world, this is just so cool. I love the fact that you need to be a polymath, understand different industries, different markets, and learn very quickly to be successful in this game. For example, I've been trading different political situations, like conflict in Eastern Ukraine, like Greece and Eurozone discussions in 2015, Brexit, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And to be profitable, you basically have to know who is, for example, Mr. Varoufakis, and what are Greeks media that are pro-Eurozone and against Eurozone, etc., etc. And also, I would say that I really love some rare and stunning market reactions and price moves. For example, the day when it became clear that Donald Trump has won U.S. presidential elections, futures on S&P 500 quickly dropped about 5%, and which is a huge reaction for U.S. stock market. And they, in a few hours, the market realized that, okay, maybe it's not that bad. He will introduce some tax reform, etc., and price started recovering.
Mm-hmm.
It went up, all the move down, all the move up, and it actually closed above the previous day close. So this is just stunning. Every time I see it, I am really happy.
Sure. It's funny you brought up Donald Trump. We were just chatting earlier, and we were wondering, how did the Russians interfere with the American elections?
Let me have a quick call with my friend Vladimir.
Yeah, it's actually a topic that keeps getting thrown around here in the United States, and with there's some evidence, but there's not definitive proof, and there's also talk that United States is also interfering with other elections too. So it's as you can imagine with Donald Trump, it's quite a mess over here.
Yeah, when it comes to Donald Trump, there's because we're gonna get into what Cindicator is. It's a predictive analytical tool,
right?
At the end of the day, something like Donald Trump's tweets have so much power on the volatility of the market these days.
That's true.
Like, how can you account for that in any kind of predictive?
I think it's just unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think it's unpredictable. Like black swan events. You can't.
There's no way like you could input all the data from Trump's tweets and like, cook out some kind of algorithm like Trump is such and such percentage likely to tweet something, this day. I don't think so, right? We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually heard about some guys who are analyzing Trump's tweets. So this may be a good strategy. But you can predict them, but you can trade them.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. So I want to hear about the first time you heard about cryptocurrency. So what were your thoughts when you first heard about it? How long did it take you to get involved?
Yeah, for the first time I've heard about Bitcoin in early 2012 in some email where Bitcoin was presented as a new virtual internet currency. And, I remember that there were speculative side even back then in this email, because after this email was made, the Bitcoin was jumped from few dollars to $6 as far as I remember, and he was predicting that it will jump to $10. But professionally, like I started working in crypto industry with my company Cindicator in early 2017.
Mm-hmm.
We had some pilots projects with now famous crypto funds, and we were sending them indicators on Bitcoin, on Ethereum. And in a few months, we have decided to tokenize our ecosystem and make a token sale. So this is when it started. And one more interesting thing about it, we actually started thinking about issuing our own currency before it became mainstream. We started thinking about it in the second half of 2016. And we were discussing like preliminary ideas around it. But I should admit that we actually had no idea how it eventually will look like.
Okay.
Yeah, because the ICO mania didn't really happen until the second half of 2017. So you pretty much had a year head start before everybody, is what you're saying. Why did you come to that conclusion? Like, why your business model should be centered around, issuing a token? Because there are other products out there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too well educated on the AI predictive analytical space, but there has to be like non-blockchain versions of this, correct? Because from what I understand, algorithmic trading has been like very prevalent in traditional equity markets. So yeah, what's the big difference that separates what you guys are doing and what's been done historically?
Yeah, we are decided to issue our own token because we decided to build like ecosystem when some people, we call them forecaster or decentralized analysts, can submit their predictions, their forecasts about the market. So basically, provide their intellect as like their intellectual contribution to this ecosystem, and get rewarded by profit that this ecosystem will generate on the financial market.
Yeah.
So traders use indicators and insights from this analyst and send rewards to analysts. So we decided that it may be interesting case to build this system.
Okay, so that makes sense. So essentially, your coin is sort of to support an ecosystem rather than just provide a product to a community and they just pay for that product. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in essence, it's like the Cindicator token is the incentive for the
community.
The community to provide, because we should probably explain what Cindicator is.
Yeah, and we'll get into in a couple of questions here. So before we get into Cindicator, I want to dive into a little bit more Bitcoin stuff. So Nodari, your thoughts on Bitcoin and whether or not you think it could become or represent the world reserve currency in the future. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, that's great and hard question. I think there is such a probability, but in my opinion, politically, it may be not so easy for central banks to include Bitcoin in their reserves, because Bitcoin is actually kind of centralized at some point, because a huge part of Bitcoin mining power is located in China. So I think it may be some concern for central banks. But on the other hand, Bitcoin is uncorrelated with major types of assets, traditional assets.
Right.
So so I think it makes sense from financial perspective to allocate a small portion of their portfolio in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. And actually, I do think that there is a probability that several countries will create their own cryptocurrency for international payments. Because
definitely.
I think it may be a great idea to save huge costs for international payments, etc. I think it also would be probably cheaper for central banks and governments to create their own coin than to use Bitcoin because of his history, which is both good and both bad, probably for central banks.
And I wonder, once countries start developing their own cryptocurrency, I wonder if the people would start using it instead of a coin that's not owned by a particular country like Bitcoin. I think ultimately the adoption is going to depend on what people decide to use. Like, for example, like Mark Zuckerberg is in Congress right now discussing Libra. And so we were just listening to it for a few minutes before we got on this call, and they were asking him questions that, clearly identifies that they don't understand what Libra is and cryptocurrencies and all that. So it's, once countries develop their own cryptocurrency, I wonder, how that's going to differ than the standard fiat currency. But that's more of like a rhetorical question, because we haven't really seen I think the only country coin we've seen was the Petro, right?
Yeah.
That's so far the only, and it's failed, right?
That's a great example.
Yeah, that's not the greatest example, right? So I guess to follow up on the Bitcoin is like, do you believe the world will transition to cryptocurrencies as a better alternative to fiat, or are we going to battle crypto versus fiat for the next foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. There may be some initiatives that could bring people's attention to cryptocurrencies, except like government-based initiatives. So, for example, like Bitcoin and Libra, if it will be launched, or Telegram, they already have a huge global audience. So
true,
they may in fact quickly replace fiat currencies for international and local payments, at least peer-to-peer payments. And after that, I think it would be hard for central banks to stop it. So they have to adjust to these new conditions.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Iman and I talk about this all the time. It's like whether or not cryptocurrencies is really going to supplant, any fiat alternative, simply because we believe that cryptocurrencies really help level the playing field for everybody involved, and since cryptocurrencies are not controlled by any one individual, there's a lot more trust between the community, the people, and their countries. Kind of like, I don't know if you were following back in 2008 when essentially the United States printed $4 trillion to bail out the banks, right? And that, it didn't do anything to stimulate the economy then, and situations like that won't be able to occur with a cryptocurrency counterpart to fiat. Yeah. And so in that world, let's assume back in 2008 when they printed $4 trillion, there was cryptocurrencies instead. That means the banking infrastructure would essentially collapse, and we would have a new paradigm in that situation, which could be a bad thing. I don't know. But at least it's more of a level playing field, right?
Yeah. Just quickly, I'm keeping talking about like international payments because we had some. So we are paying rewards for forecasters in Cindy token, and we just had a quick calculation how it would what would be the cost if we had an idea to pay it through traditional fiat currencies. So we are sending basically several thousand of rewards per month, and we have calculated that to do it through like Swift or its analogous through banks, we need to spend about $100,000 per month just to do it, because we need to hire a huge amount of accountants who will do it. We need to work with local regulations to be able to send like $5 to Trinidad and Tobago. And without crypto, it would be just impossible.
I see. Yeah. So that's a good question. So I'm assuming that on your platform, you have several nationalities using your platform, right? Americans, Russians, the Chinese. I mean, I'm assuming that you have a lot of diverse community. So when you're paying out Cindicator to these individuals for their work or their contribution to Cindicator, do you have to deal with any regulatory framework for that?
Not really, because we, like, according to our rules, our users do like most of the job on their side. For example, if you're receiving reward in Cindicator, you have to pay like tax, income tax or something like this. So yeah, we are just sending crypto without dealing with much regulations. At least for now. I don't know how it will be in the future.
That's so efficient. Yeah. That's way better than trying to pay everybody
just
with
10
fiat.
minutes.
Absolutely. So let's go a little bit into the trading aspect. So as an expert in the financial markets such as yourself, we're always discussing like technical analysis and whether or not they're a valid way to predict a price. So in your opinion, Nodari, is technical analysis something that we can rely on as traders?
Yeah, this is a hard question, since there's a truly holy war between subjects of technical and fundamental analysis. But I think that the truth, as usual, lies somewhere in between. So if we're talking about particular indicators such as, for example, support and resistance levels, or levels like local or all-time high and low, I think they are working because of humans' psychology, because we are tend to anchor on round numbers or something like this. So I think it works, and I've been thinking that if we're talking about some, like, when a trader adds 10 indicators different on his chart and trying to make some money on it, I think it won't work, because you have to have full statistics for your strategy. And if you are using like 10 indicators, one of them will be profitable at the one moment, the second will be not profitable. You will just mix it up.
So when it comes to Cindicator, so there's two aspects to Cindicator. There's the crowdsourced prediction sort of engine, and then there's the artificial intelligence. So we want to get into a little bit more of the artificial intelligence and how that works. So can you tell us, like, what data set does an artificial intelligence engine use compared to the data set that the crowdsource uses?
Yeah, so on the Cindicator platform, we have a wide range of people. Some of them are professional analysts, some of them are amateur traders, some of them don't have any experience yet with finance. So the range of data they're using is very, very broad. Some of them using technical analysis, some of them using fundamental analysis, some of them using price action, use coverage, or just raw intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So basically anything that an individual trader might use to make a decision. And if we are talking about just like quant trading algorithms or statistical models, they're using price data such as open close volumes, probably, to identify some correlations. And some models are used, for example, in momentum strategies. So it means when an asset goes up, it likely tend to continue this move. And at Cindicator, our machine learning models use forecasts from our users as the main input to create a probability indicator for price or price events or other events. So we have check of each analyst, we have check records, and so our models are taking into account, for example, their if somebody is good at predicting Bitcoin, for example, or if somebody is good at predicting trend reversal, or if somebody is good in predicting I don't know, S&P 500 and etc. So some of people could be overly bullish or bearish. Some of them could be consistently wrong, which is actually a good skill as well, because we can just reward their predictions.
Mm-hmm.
All the data is helpful to eliminate individual biases and come up with good accurate prediction.
So let me dive into that a little bit. So when you're saying that you have a crowd of people and they're making predictions, some are good and some are bad. Some people are good at Bitcoin, some of those are good in S&P 500. So does that mean that your machine learning algorithm starts learning like, hey, William is always making good predictions on Bitcoin, so I'm going to listen to him next time, versus Iman predicting something that doesn't come true for the S&P 500, and the machine learning algorithm simply just listens to Iman a lot less? Is that how that works?
Yeah, in fact, we have built the years we have built about 50 models. They're different, so some of them are working as you said. Some of them are working differently. Like for example, looking at people who's predicting at the very like. So for each indicator, for each question, we give some time for analysts to submit their prediction. So some of models are looking only for them who is predicting, like who submit their prediction in the last 10 minutes of this time period, because they obviously have more information. So yeah, we already know the statistics of each machine learning model. So yeah, we are just have the best one that is using the best forecasts and create the best indicator in for each case.
Okay.
And yeah, just quickly, I would add probably just so we have started. We actually in 2015 we have started not only with financial markets but also with different other markets or industries. So we, for example, we had questions about who is going to win Oscar or
yeah,
political questions. Yeah, but we quickly realized that for developing our system, it's better to focus on financial side because in financial markets we have really fast feedback from the market, so we can understand really fast that this model or this analysis is good or not. And while for forecasting, for example, Oscar, we have to wait for several years.
Right.
And also, there is obviously more demand for financial tools than for predicting beauty trends or something like this.
Sure.
But this technology can be able for these industries as well, but we are for now focusing on finance. And just one more thing quickly, we recently we had a look at prediction markets, and we have used our hybrid intelligence indicators for training on these prediction markets. Prediction markets is when basically you can trade the probability of event to happen. We had several months long experiment. We have completed 20 trades, and 6 of them were profitable with a huge profit of 90%. So something like this. So this is another field where we can use this technology.
That brings up another question. I was looking into Cindicator and I found some percentages on how accurate the engine is. And I was, I believe between 2018 and 2019, like the accuracy was above 70% in a lot of the quarters. So if the accuracy is above 70%, why would you ever bet against what the indication is for a given market like Bitcoin? Like why? So if it's that accurate, why would you bet against it? That's my question.
Yeah. We have such high probability, such high accuracy, but in the coming months, it has dropped actually.
Okay.
If we are talking about average accuracy, we have more than 60%, about 62% or something like this, which is, in my opinion, which is great because comparing to like flipping the coin 50-50, it's much better. So you can use it and make money probably from it. If we're talking about betting against it, so there are some fields where hybrid intelligence, as well as like just any forecasts, are not, I think, are not really good. For example, hybrid intelligence didn't forecast the probability of Brexit. So this think that there will be no Brexit, as well as I think 90% of analysts and traders back then. So for some like black swan events, almost unpredictable events, it may not work. And we actually had a trade against the crowd in 2016 on Trump on presidential elections.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I want to get a little bit into artificial intelligence, and so can you explain, like, when you have a crowdsourced prediction and then when you have an artificial intelligence, does the artificial intelligence essentially take the history of the price of a given market and then just make its own prediction, and then there's a separate engine that takes both the artificial intelligence and the crowdsourced intelligence and make a call on whether or not, you know, joining the two pieces of information lead to a certain prediction? Or, I mean, like, how does the artificial intelligence actually operate in this sort of environment?
Yeah. So we don't for our machine learning models, we don't take a look at the price itself, because I think from my experience it makes no sense.
Okay.
You can just take the prices of a given asset and build them, for example, neural network and predict future prices. There will be like overfitting, and it won't work on out of sample data. So what we're doing in Cindicator, we are instead of looking at prices with our artificial intelligence, we are looking at what people think about it.
Oh, okay.
It's more like a sentiment indicators rather than technical.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, because there's tons of technical analysis tools, really. I mean, a trader can apply their own knowledge by using technical analysis because, like you said, it's just technical analysis is essentially looking at previous prices.
True.
Drawing support and resistance lines. The thing is, everyone's drawing these same lines, right?
Right.
So everyone's expecting the same reactions whenever a support or a resistance line is broken.
Right.
But yeah, this is something new. Like, being able to conglomerate the sentiment.
So essentially, so let me give you an example. What you're saying is you have the crowdsource using technical analysis to make a prediction, right? And then the artificial intelligence takes all the tweets, all the blogs, and gets a certain feel of whether a price is indicating going up or going down based on like the sentiment of that type of data.
But we in Cindicator we have an extra layer of like humans of forecasters.
Oh, okay.
Who are so we don't look at any blog post to make a forecast, but our forecasters are looking at different blog posts at different media. So they're looking for different ideas, and we are just connecting to their.
I see. Interesting.
Using the raw data.
Okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense. So when it goes back to the actual technical aspect of artificial intelligence, did you guys build this from the ground up, or are you guys using open source software and sort of repurposing it for predictions?
We have built it from scratch.
Oh, wow.
But we obviously have used, like in our artificial intelligence models, we have used obviously also all known ideas. So we're just trying everything to and just trying to see what will bring us more accurate prediction or more value, because it's not sometimes accuracy is as valuable as, for example, trading profit made from indicator. Sometimes it's not the same story. You can have medium accuracy, but you can make higher profits from it. It depends on assets, for example, right? So and on time frame. If you are forecasting, let's say 1 minute, you can have almost 100% probability accuracy, but you can't actually trade it. if you are forecasting years, you can't actually forecast, I think, have a good accuracy. So we have this balance of most of our indicators are working for from few days to a few weeks, and I think it's good from both trading perspective and both accuracy perspective.
Interesting.
How frequent are these alerts? Like, say for Bitcoin, for instance, are you getting daily price predictions, or is it more like a long-term forecast for these individual assets?
Yeah, we have different, completely different types of indicators and completely time frames. We're testing everything.
Yeah.
So we have both daily prediction, both weekly prediction, and also monthly predictions.
Yeah.
We're just testing everything and see what is working, keeping it, and cutting what is not working good. And as already said, not working good means not like low accuracy, but accuracy close to 50%. If accuracy is let's say 30%, is a great result because you can just revert it and trade it in the opposite way.
Yeah, the opposite, right? Yeah, I mean, any indication is information for the system, right? Like, for example, if many people are predicting that the Bitcoin price is going to go down, and you have a different set of like information, then you can just bet the opposite, and then you're 70% accurate, right?
But that's the thing. Like every day you're asking the community the same question, right? Like say for Bitcoin, for instance, every day you're asking the community to give their daily price predictions, correct? I think we looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
The questions are sort of formatted like what do you think the minimum and maximum price of a certain asset will be between this certain time period,
right?
So that essentially is the data you're bringing in, by proposing these questions, and then your machine learning algorithm, whatever it is, the secret sauce that you guys built, is putting out these daily predictions, right? So each indicator is essentially, it's like a green or a red light to whether or not to purchase an asset, or does it give you specific percentages of what you expect it to go up in price or go down?
Yeah, it gives more percentage of like probability.
Oh, really?
So, for example, yeah, it depends of different indicators. What you said is actually we just get a price. So like minimum maximum price is the price prediction, and we have built some and testing some different strategies around it. For example, shorting at max price and long at lowest price prediction. We also have so-called binary questions when we are asking question like this, for example: will Bitcoin firstly jump 10% or drop 10% or 2%, whatever? And we have a probability estimate, for example, 75% that Bitcoin will first jump. So, and after that, we are working on this, and our token holders as well.
Yeah.
And also quickly,
sure.
Also major types of indicators is ranking. So we are basically asking to rank several coins based on their based on your forecast of their relative performance. So, for example, we are asking to rank Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple coin, and put on the first place asset that, in your opinion, will jump more, and on the last place, an asset that will like drop or just jump in the jump less percent. So, and we obviously can build market neutral or quasi market neutral strategies. Just buy the first coin and short the last one.
Interesting. One of the questions that I had was for the architecture for Cindicator. What aspects of Cindicator do you believe needs to be decentralized? Is it the actual platform and the network, or is it are you basing decentralization off of like the crowdsourcing of the predictions? Like, what do you see as important to decentralize in Cindicator?
Yeah, this is a great question because we're still in debates about it. So one of the main points is the decentralization of opinions. So we don't have any chats in our application, so we don't want people to talk to each other and influence each other opinions. We just trying to have their own opinions without any influence, and this is one of the key points. If we're talking about, for example, decentralization of application that we have. So for right now, we have mobile application, web application, and basically we are storing all the prediction on our centralized server. We are thinking about doing it on a blockchain, storing it somewhere on a blockchain, but there comes some negative sides because we have about 400,000 data points per month. I mean, the data point is a single prediction by a single analyst. And if we're going to put all of this on a blockchain, like as a separate transaction will have 500,000 transactions per month, which is great cost to do these transactions. So it's not clear if we actually need this right now, or we can wait for some probably new blockchains with more efficient fees and more scalable ones to come up, and then probably we can do it. This is something that we're still discussing.
Yeah, no, that's a valid concern, because if you decide to put the whole network or the whole system on a blockchain, then you're sort of held handcuffed to the speed of the blockchain and then all the fees associated to that blockchain. And so, like you're saying, like if you have one prediction with 400,000 data points, that's not really sustainable for a blockchain to hold all that data. And so that makes a lot of sense. And it's probably not that important to decentralize, at least that aspect of it, because if you have a backend system and a database, I mean, that's going to perform significantly faster and much cheaper to kind of sustain than just using a blockchain to do that. So yeah, it makes sense. Like that's a really interesting kind of like thing, because the community, like when you're into cryptocurrency, everything is about decentralization, and people don't seem to understand that not everything needs to be decentralized, right? There's only important aspects that should be decentralized, like the monetary aspect. Like if, for example, if Cindicator was a currency that was centralized that didn't use blockchain, that would be a problem, but that's not the case. But Cindicator, the platform, is a central system, which should be okay. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that. Yeah. So that's predominantly the reason why I had, that question.
But it makes sense that, decentralizing, like he called it, opinions. Because
for sure.
To eliminate any kind of bias, essentially.
Yeah, because if you had a chat, everybody say, hey, Bitcoin's going to go up, and then all of a sudden people tend to agree. Yeah. And then everybody's predicting that it's going to go up. Yeah. So...
I mean, yeah, from my personal experience, it's kind of good to go against the grain for some reason. Yeah. I feel like, what markets tend to do is, find the best way to screw the most amount of people out of money. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if you agree with that, because that kind of goes against what your, sentiment analysis, is purposed for, right? You want to go with the 60% sentiment rule. If it's 60% accurate, why would, like you asked before, why would you ever go against that? Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's pretty easy to get like sentiment just from, like you said, reading Reddit, looking at Twitter. Yeah. If you look at all these YouTubers who are like, they're all predicting like, Bitcoin's going to the moon. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, that's like sell signals when everyone's overly exuberant about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So
I wonder if the artificial intelligence picks that up too. Like, for example, if people are unnaturally positive about Bitcoin, does the artificial intelligence say, the human sentiment is probably too positive, so I'm going to tell my my syndicator audience to
be
sell.
cautious.
Yeah, be cautious
be
about
wary
Bitcoin.
of like human psychology. You know what I mean? People tend to get like
we have started with the traditional markets. So when we just entered the script industry, we had forecasters who came with us from like traditional finance, and they were more, they were how to say it, not so optimistic as people who came from crypto about like Bitcoin, etc. So yeah, we see this, and our great advantage is that we basically see everything. We have all the history of all the analysts, so we can just we see people who stand to be too bullish, and we just don't take them in the main model. Yeah.
So I have a question on the actual contributors to the syndicator. So can you explain how an analyst on syndicator gains or loses points for a valid or invalid forecast?
Yeah. So it depends from types of questions. So for example, the most one is a binary question. Most simple one from the point of view of rewarding a forecaster. So if let's say we're asking a question, will Bitcoin rise to 10,000 till the end of October? And you can answer any percentages of your Asian, how to say, if you're sure that it will rise, you will put like 100%, for example, answer. If you are really sure, you can put 65%, etc., etc. And we are basically calculating the reward from the 50%. So, for example, if you have put 100%, and if you are right, you are getting 50 points. If you have put 0%, you are losing 50 points. If you have put like 70%, you're gaining 20 points, etc., etc. This is for these types of question. So basically, we have quite fair system when you are getting rewarded by because of your just because of your accuracy. If you are accurate, you're getting points, and in the end of each month, you will receive Cindy tokens based on your ranking. If you are not really accurate, you will receive less Cindy tokens or will not receive it. So yeah,
interesting.
I think
makes sense. So, so then when an analyst is on your platform, so the analyst that is only focused on Bitcoin can only do Bitcoin predictions, correct? Like that's available.
Yeah, but actually, I think we have to change the system a bit, because right now it's more supportive for people who is answering almost all the indicators, and we had internal discussions, so we need to let people who forecast, let's say, only Bitcoin, and that's it, but do it very good. We should have additional rewards for this, because you won't get a really huge amount of points if you are not answering all the question, but your input is still very valuable, so we have to send rewards for this as well.
That makes sense. So what you're saying is like we're always talking about cryptocurrencies essentially in this podcast, and we know that there's other markets out there that we don't touch simply because it's just not as interesting to us. So what you're saying is if we get into Cindicator, we're going to be getting questions that we really don't know anything about, right? And what you're saying is eventually you're going to change the system to be like, hey, if you only like cryptocurrencies in this section of the application, you can just focus on making cryptocurrency predictions.
Right.
Okay, good.
And be rewarded, fairly or equally as other analysts from other sectors, other markets.
Yeah, so for now we from the very beginning we have separated crypto and traditional markets. So we have like two separate challenges, two separate rankings each month. So, but if we're talking about predictions in Bitcoin or solely for Ethereum, we don't have this separation yet. But I think we need to probably make some new achievements for people who is accurate on a single coin. I think it will be fair.
Okay, so then, so clients who make buying decisions based on this hybrid intelligence output, I want to understand the business model for Cindicator. Do people make the calls on the Cindicator platform, or are they simply extracting information that Cindicator is giving them and then making a purchase or a sell decision on Binance, for example?
Yeah, so clients don't have to use Cindicator app at all. They have a separate application called Cindicator Edge, and they are receiving final indicators there. So Cindicator app is solely for forecasters. So clients are right now the system works like this. Clients have to hold a portion of CD tokens, and while they're holding it, they're receiving indicators. And we have different tiers. So, for example, for expert tier, which consists the most valuable, in our opinion, indicators, you have to hold, as far as I remember, 700,000 CD tokens. If you are just holding it on your wallet, you can connect it to Cindicator Edge or just connected it to our Telegram bot, and you will receive indicators on a daily basis. Okay. And yeah, basically.
So then the follow up question is just a quick question is on how Cindicator makes money, right? The business model. So right now, as an analyst, you have to spend, let's say, between 5,000 to 200,000 syndicators to have access to the platform, and but those 200,000 syndicators don't necessarily go to Cindicator, right? They're sort of like staked. You pay the 200,000 and you have access, right? So how does Cindicator earn money then? Like, if you don't use the platform to make the bet, like where does the income come?
Yeah, so it's true that we don't have much income from selling indicators because we are providing access for those who are holding it. So we are not receiving this tokens.
Oh, okay, right.
This is true, and we are testing some new ideas around this to ask clients to actually pay Cindy tokens for getting indicators. But we also trade our own indicators as well, and it's quite profitable.
Oh, okay.
And also
that makes sense.
I was thinking about that. It's like, why would you, if you guys are so good, you can be a billionaire within a few years if you just keep following your bot. You know, that's pretty smart way to make money.
And also, I can't share it right now, but we are preparing something, in my opinion, really interesting to have this system work in a proper way. I mean, there will be like more circulation of tokens from clients to analysts. So yeah, I think very soon we will show it to the world.
Oh, okay.
I hope so.
No, that's exciting. So that makes a lot of sense, because we were wondering like how, providing the service as accurate as it is, we didn't really see a way where Cindicator was actually earning an income. But if you're using the information to actually make, the bets, that makes sense. That's your income, right? Because you're basically on the same level playing field as everyone else. As long as people are participating in terms of like staking Cindicator, then everybody has a level playing field in terms of, earning, from these bets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have Telegram chat where some people their strategies. For example, one long-term follower of Cindicator is using Cindicator indicators for fiat market for company earnings reports and buying options based on it, and he's profitable for like several seasons of
oh wow,
earning seasons. So this is exciting for us.
Oh, for sure.
Else to Yeah.
So, diving just one level deeper for the analyst, what kinds of tools does Cindicator offer to the forecasters to aid in their predictions? Is there any analytical tools on the platform that analyst could use to help make that prediction?
Yeah. So, one of our main goals is to educate and motivate people to make correct and accurate predictions. So sometimes we're issuing educational articles and videos for our forecasters. Speaking about user experience, we are always trying to improve UX for forecasters. So, for example, since the day one, we had useful links section behind the question. So you can just use the question. You can use links and see links that our internal analysts have prepared for these questions. Our internal analysts are using links without any opinions expressed in this. So, as already said, it's very important. So, for example, there may be some info about this company or this token, but not some, I don't know, report of someone opinions about this token. And also, we are adding links to the chart for every financial question. And recently we have added better, in my opinion, better charts in the app. So you can, if you're forecasting from the phone, you can just turn it down, and you will see like a great chart, and you can put your indicators and etc. etc.
Okay, no, that's good. I mean, that'll be helpful because a lot of the tools out there, they all cost money, right? And so if the tools that Cindicator provides are more than enough for anyone to make that prediction and informed prediction, that's even a bigger benefit for the analyst.
Yeah, we had some conversation with analysts, and we obviously have financial motivation for them, which is they can earn CD on a monthly basis, but they also speaking about they are all speaking about educational part, because this is important for them to being able to forecast the market without putting any money on it, and so they can do it for free. They can learn the market, they can see how it works, etc., etc. And this is beneficial for them. We also back then, like 3 years ago or something like this, we had an analyst from. He didn't have financial experience at all. He was working in oil sector from Russia, and he was just fascinated by finance and started learning. And in a few months, he became one of the top analysts.
Oh wow!
He had no experience at all. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is interesting that we actually have very diverse of people. We have people distributed in different places in the world. As I already said, in Trinidad and Tobago, we had 30 analysts, which is surprising for me because it's a small island. So this is interesting because people have absolutely different background. They have a way to think about different things, and it's interesting to collect their opinions about some questions and to see how they think and how they evolve in their forecasting skills.
Sure. I have a question on how do you guys select the asset to make the prediction on? Like whenever you go to the platform, there's a bunch of questions that you're asking to all the analysts. Like how do you select those questions for the community?
Yeah, it's nowadays it's a job for our internal analysts. They're selecting the actual assets. Previously, we were asking our community what are coins they want to get indicators. We are still asking it, but we don't have a proper way probably to do it, because we just talking about in different talking about different assets on Telegram chat. So yeah, our analysts are choosing it, but for most of people, this is like top
It's demand driven.
10
Demand
coins
driven.
and or top 200 coins for
Yeah.
most of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We also had an idea that it's not implemented yet to let clients, token holders, to pay for custom indicators they want to ask. It's not implemented yet, but we are thinking about it.
oh, I see.
So-
So, like, if you have a huge hedge fund saying, "Hey, I want to know what the price of Ethereum is going to be in the next 3 months," they can go and potentially pay to have the community go do research and have the community predict on the price of Ethereum in 3 months.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, because now you have like a bunch of clients who have their own interests and their own kind of like areas of expertise where they want to gain like just get a market sentiment of a price of a given asset, and so they can go and ask that question. So now that we kind of understand how assets are discovered and asked, there's a prior interview with you on about Cindicator on environmental issues. How do you see Cindicator getting involved in climate crisis, for example?
Yeah. One of our key values is to tackle the most pressing problems of our world. We believe that hybrid intelligence as a decision-making technology can be useful and can be implemented in any sphere, including ecology and politics. And eventually, any field with a high degree of uncertainty could benefit from hybrid intelligence. So we are speaking about environment. Sorry, ecology. We are planning to support initiatives in this field, but maybe it will be better to explain one of the another problems that
Sure.
we have in our modern world. This when we can do even better job. For example, financial inclusion for people, for unbanked people, for people in many countries that don't have access to financial services. Right now, there is a huge trend in crypto called DeFi, and
yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah. So quite interesting idea that people from unbanked countries may get the access to financial services through crypto. For example, get a loan on a maker, for example, make it down, and they won't be treated. There will be no ranking systems when a bank is looking at you, at your job, at your family, etc., etc. There will be no I don't know how to say discrimination, probably.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely decentralized. If you put enough amount of ether, you can get DAI so alone. But there is one huge issue that I see, that for using this kind of services, people should have money they are willing to use for testing it. They're willing to use in some new field that they don't really understand. And I think this is when our industry has some problems, because I doubt that they have enough money to just test, make it DAO, etc. And this is where Cindicator may be useful, in my opinion, because we don't require any payments from analysts. So anyone can just download our application and start making predictions and start earning Cindicator tokens, so crypto. And probably this could be a way for a huge amount of people to enter the crypto industry.
That makes a lot of sense.
They may start earning.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because it essentially what you're saying is, to use a platform, it doesn't really cost any. You're not really paying you're not really paying as traditionally as you would to gain access to it. Instead, you're contributing to a community on predicting on certain assets, and if you're right, you end up getting paid in C&D tokens. And so that's how you would help the people who don't necessarily have access to a financial system. Is that correct, Nodari?
Yeah, absolutely. So people would be able to, first of all, they will have some crypto that they in future will be able to change for other crypto, let's say Ethereum or Bitcoin, and use it for their future actions. And also they will have a necessary education about this market, because to earn something in Cindicator, you have to submit correct predictions. So you have to understand something about the market. So I think this may be an interesting case for our application. Yeah.
No, that is interesting. So what's the best way to gain access to the platform? Is it essentially going to your website and connecting your wallet with a certain amount of indicators, or what's your recommendation there? How do you get started?
Yeah, so a few months ago we have launched Cindicator Edge. Previously we had on Telegram bot for this, so you had to put your Ethereum address where you are holding X amount of Cindicoin. You have to confirm it through sending a 0 transaction. And after that, if your coins are still in this address, you're receiving indicators in this bot.
Interesting.
And now we have Cindicator Edge website. So it became more easier, in our opinion, that you can just log into this website, connect any Ethereum wallet, you just need to have some CD. And now you can even don't use centralized exchange like Binance for buying it. You can use Kyber network system, decentralized exchange. To just buy it directly from our website using their widget. And you will receive indicators in this website, which is quite clean and beautiful looking. And I think it's more useful for our clients.
Have you received any feedback from say the top performers? How much are they actually earning? Is it like a livable income? Maybe is it like a full-time profession somebody could actually live off of, or is this kind of like some kind of
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now we have, as I said, two main challenges: fiat and crypto. Mm-hmm. In fiat, we are paying $700 or something like this, and in crypto we are paying on a monthly basis. And in crypto we are paying 1.25 bitcoins on a monthly basis. This reward is distributed to all the investors who have positive amount of points during this month, and we have exponential distributions. So those who are on the top, they're receiving more, obviously. And it's about, as far as I remember, it's about $400 to $500 per month, which is probably not so high for countries like United States or UK, for example. Yeah. But this is quite a decent amount for many countries, I think.
True. Absolutely.
You can living from this amount. Yeah, and also we have some additional challenges for our forecasters. We are testing different ideas, different indicators, different markets, and we are inviting the best of the best, and they have additional up to 3 challenges per month, and give them quite a good financial reward as well. So, for example, one of our recent ideas is to test so-called crowd of crowds. Idea is when we are not only collecting individual forecasts from individual people, but we are getting them into a group, let's say of 5 people, and there, before submitting forecasts, they are able to talk to each other, and after that, we're collecting indicators from these groups. So, like, we have several groups, and this is one of the hottest, I think, topics in this area. We found it in one of articles,
Sure.
and we are testing it. We had one challenge which was very exciting for us, and we are now started the second one. And speaking about rewards, as far as I remember, like the winners received about $500 each. 5 people, $500, which is additionally to their monthly reward.
I mean, that's actually a lot of money. I mean, if you go onto crypto Twitter, everybody's making predictions like left and right. I mean, if they end up being right and make those predictions on Cindicator, I mean, they can make some good side money on top of that. So, so Nodari, last question of the day. So I'm gonna ask you this question, and this obviously has nothing to do with Cindicator. So, I don't even know how much you can input here. But what are your thoughts on Libra?
We actually had a report about it a few weeks ago. Our internal analysts have prepared. I think that Libra would be beneficial for crypto industry. I think my personal opinion, because we will have most likely crypto exchanges will trade Libra, most likely. So I think we will have a huge amount of new fresh people who
oh, absolutely.
I don't know what will be the result of their discussion with the regulations authorities, but I really hope that they will do it, because it will be beneficial for crypto industry and for Libra association as well, because it's quite a scalable business, I guess.
Yeah. I think from onboarding people who don't necessarily know anything about cryptocurrency, I think Libra is going to do a lot there. I think from our perspective, Libra, who is basically backing the Libra coin with a bunch of fiat currencies, could affect like the financial ecosystem from a fiat perspective. And I think and right now Mark Zuckerberg is talking to the United States Congress, and we've already listened to some of the questions, and they've been pretty
malicious.
Yeah, they're not really giving him any time to breathe. But yeah. So before you go, Nodari, is there anything that you wanna say in terms of like the platform? How many users are on the platform daily? Anything about Cindicator that you want everybody to know that we haven't really covered?
We have in total we have almost 150,000 analysts registered in our platform. Obviously, not everyone from them are making prediction on a daily basis, but still it's strong forecasters per day. I think this is quite a good amount, but one of my probably goals or ideas that I have is to increase this amount to, let's say, 1 million of forecasters, probably with including some people who is located in a country that are not so used to crypto yet. So I hope that if we will be able to do this, we will bring some more people to crypto, and we will have some more adoption of our industry.
How many people do you think are into crypto right now, global?
I don't know. I think about 1 to 2 1 or 2 million maybe people.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, because we've done some research, and according to Coinbase, they have like 30 million users, and then so globally they're predicting roughly 45 million users are into crypto. So that is very, very a hard number to get accurate, because they could be counting how many wallets are active. They could be counting how many wallets were generated. So it's a hard number. But I think you're right. I think once the bull market returns, I think getting 1 million people onto Cindicator probably won't be an issue.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
once people start trading again,
yeah,
like the greed,
the
comes back. Yeah, tools like this.
Yeah,
who wouldn't? Because I'm subscribed personally to an individual who makes predictions in a way, like a trader. He's a professional trader. It's a Telegram chat group, and we all share ideas and come up with our own indicators in a way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he charges a lot of money for this membership. So I think you guys have a potential avenue for revenue there, for sure, that you need to explore. People will pay good money for
for access to information like this. Yeah,
definitely, especially if it's proven. And I don't know if you have any kind of like historical display that can sort of verify.
We do have. Yeah, the only thing, we don't have this on a blockchain. This is the only problem, I think. But we do have it like on our Telegram bot. So yeah, it's a fair. We have almost 2 years of fair data. I mean, fair in terms of this data was sent to thousands of people or even more. So everyone was seeing this.
No, that's good. We're definitely joining that Telegram, because we like to stay up to date and like on all the trends on everything. So Nodari, I want to thank you for coming and joining us on this podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It took a little while to get us together, but finally did it, and we're happy that you joined us.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Well, that was the interview.
Yeah, that was it.
There's a lot of other stuff to talk about, but so what'd you think, man?
No, I mean,
I'll be honest. Okay, should I be honest?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, should I? Before this interview, like I was a little skeptical of like the platform as a whole.
Yeah,
just because of the whole. I mean, okay, yeah. Let's be honest about cryptocurrencies, man. There's a lot of shit coins out there. There's a lot of people who were opportunists in 2017, like especially these ICOs and stuff. They were looking for, there was definitely a lot of money grabbing projects out there that on the surface they looked like they had good intentions, but in reality they're just looking for money.
Yeah, and to be clear, so you're right. There's a lot of malicious, I guess, ICOs out there. Yeah, but there was also a bunch of ICOs who had good intents. They just couldn't execute because starting a company is just extremely hard, right? So they just failed, not necessarily our scam coins. But you're right. It was so easy to scam during an ICO that I believe that there was more scam coins than there were like legitimate
100%.
intents.
100%. And yeah, Cindicator, I never thought they were a scam at all. It's just maybe they were, they proposed this grand vision, but that's not true. They had like a prototype website, at least web application, when they ICO. So I guess what I'm saying is that after this interview, for sure, it seems like this company is one of the gems in the rough. You know what I mean? Like, they're not out here
trying to scam anybody.
Well, like out there, on a yacht and just chilling, enjoying their millions that they got from the ICO craze, right? Yeah. These guys are actively they're thinking of new ideas, new ways to apply the technology and stuff. And that was very reaffirming in a way.
That's true. I mean, we like you're saying, there's definitely a lot of like scam coins out there, but this is definitely not one of those.
Yeah, because we were talking about this off the pod. I mean, a lot of the people like me, like the general retail investor, we get our information mostly off of like YouTube or Google or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of these influencers in cryptocurrency are like the mainstream guys, the Data Dashes, the Ivan
Chico
on
Crypto.
Text, the Chico Cryptos. These aren't bad people, but
they do a lot of hot takes.
Well, yeah, and then they're businessmen. At the end of the day, they want to get paid, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the information you take in from them has like an obvious bias. So a lot of it's like paid shilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not a lot of like non-biased sources out there for
absolutely
like evaluation like projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had like our own internal debate about this. Like, if we get to the point where we're interviewing more crypto projects, like, do we want to become one of these shills?
It is a valid debate because you're interfering with the bread and butter.
Yeah.
And obviously you cannot do that because you can't sustain it if you can't get paid.
Yeah.
However, you don't want to be a shill man.
Yeah.
And just shill everything that comes at you with money.
Yeah, and to be fair, like all these guys who I just name dropped, like they disclose before the video,
They
like
do.
this is a paid promotional video.
Yeah.
So, but it's like,
and this was not paid in any way.
No.
We were genuinely having a conversation on trying to discover like how Cindicator works.
Yeah.
Why it's valuable.
Exactly, because yesterday before this interview, I thought to myself like, well, you could probably do this without a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
You can ask the same questions, build an application around it, and pay them in cash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pay the contributors in cash. But he brought up an excellent, the overhead expenses for that would be like through the roof. Your business model wouldn't be sustainable because then you need like accountants.
That's right.
Like money exchange,
Regulatory
regulation.
Yeah.
It's like not doable. So for him answering that now Cindicator makes a lot more sense, and I understand the incentive structure. Like you have to incentivize people to actually give good predictions. Like so I like the fact that he explained they give you a rating based also on not just your predictions, but like your confidence in your own predictions.
Yeah,
like, you have to put like I'm 100%. I'm gonna get this right. So like if you put 100%, you did the work.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah, and
because you don't want to lose points, right?
And the other interesting part is that they don't necessarily their indicators are not paid for, right? You don't pay for those indicators.
Yeah, I'm starting to think you should. But
yeah. If they're that accurate, then
exactly, yeah. But in their case, all you have to do is just hold their token.
Well, hold their token, and I think one of their business models should probably be a subscription service. People who
like
are
the expert tier.
People who are like who are not making calls. Instead, they're taking calls and saying, "All right, Cindicator's telling me that Bitcoin's going to go up about they have an 80% confidence it's going to go up 10%. I'm going to make that bet." And that person making that bet is paying monthly for that service.
I would 100% pay for, like I said, especially like I gave him an example. I paid $500 for a year membership. It's just a Telegram chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's one guy who runs the chat. Like he has a history of performance, right? Like he's a young guy, just like him, probably the same age, 27.
Yeah.
He got into crypto when he was like 21, 22. And like he's made millions. So it's like he told his story and he's like, come bitches, come join me. You can make money too. It's the easiest pitch in the world, right?
Right.
And to a noob like me at the time when I found him was like, dude, this is a no-brainer.
Right.
I pay $500, and all I need to do is make like one successful trade, and it pays for itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every successful trade consecutive after that is like
it's a profit.
It's free money.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of the work. You just wait for him to tell you what to buy.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's legal or not, but it sounds like it might be illegal in the United States, but.
Yeah, it does sound like it.
It's like that's not insider.
It's
trading.
not insider trading. No,
it's like
definitely not.
But I see the benefit. This interview definitely alleviated a lot of my concerns. For sure, which is good. And I think that's what we need to provide.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Is that I think there needs to be a certain level of integrity when it comes to like talking to these different cryptocurrencies and. We can't go into any cryptocurrency assuming that there some sort of nefarious activity going on. Right?
Yeah, you shouldn't. You got to give everybody like a chance.
Give them a chance, even if even if we were talking to BitConnect. Let's understand what they were thinking, and maybe they had some valid intent at the beginning, and it just
let's say we had this podcast in like early 2017, and we were interviewing BitConnect.
Yeah,
like, what would you do? Like the puzzle would align in your head. You'd be like, "This is a scam." Would you call them out on the spot?
I would, because this is a danger to society, because there's so many people who spend so much money on these scams. Who think like it's like what's that guy's name? The BitConnect guy that was screaming at the conference. Carlos Matos. Yeah, it's like, dude, poor guy. Like, that guy probably doesn't understand like how these scams operate. Yeah. And
because he was probably making bank at the time. He's like, this is the greatest shit in the world.
Yeah.
Like, why
now,
is everybody doing this?
It's different if you're into BitConnect and you know it's a scam and you're just trying to capitalize.
Yeah.
But you're not a YouTuber who's shilling BitConnect, because that's illegal.
Exactly.
So
because you're incentivized.
You're incentivized.
These YouTube channels,
that's right.
The more people who sign up through your link, the more money you make.
Yeah.
That's the fucking Ponziest of all Ponzi's.
It is.
But yeah, that's kind of like, I was a little skeptical of Cindicator, because they do that thing where it's like we have 60 or 70% like awesomeness.
Yeah.
But they're not doing what BitConnect did. They're not taking your money and like telling you you're gonna make a return.
That's true.
That's to me, I'm like, this is safe.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Syndicator does not take your money. That's
the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing, really.
Yeah. If they were taking your money and telling you, look, it's like, we're gonna make a 70% return for you, and then like give it to you back or something.
Yeah,
like that.
even if they had a subscription service, it's different than BitConnect, because BitConnect saying, you give me a Bitcoin and I return to you 3 Bitcoins.
Eventually.
Or
like whenever you decide to cash out. Yeah. Whatever the fuck. But in reality, we're just going to run and gun.
Right.
So, and we're not saying anything negative about something, by like correlating it to BitConnect at all.
No, definitely not.
Not at all. Like, this is a legit service for sure. Like, I want to use this, not now, because it's a bear market.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have a lot of. I wish I should have asked them like how this bear market is
affecting them.
Yeah, as a business. I'm sure it is, right? Because nobody wants to trade in this condition. But whenever it turns bullish, something like this is gonna like sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, you know I totally agree. And the only reason why we brought BitConnect up is more about the integrity of what we're doing.
That's
here.
like us.
Yeah, it's us.
Yeah, like I said.
And if we find a shit coin, we're gonna call that shit coin.
Yeah, like I think we should just like create some beef and some drama.
Yeah, and let's say we call a shit coin and we're wrong. They should come onto the podcast and explain why we're wrong.
Yeah,
right. It's really that simple. And we don't hold any biases, and we don't hold any like belief systems in any of these cryptocurrencies where we cannot be convinced that one's a shit coin and one's a not shit coin. You know, so. Yeah. Just
I think that's the approach we should take to it for sure.
Yeah, if we're wrong about anything, call us out. Like, we're not afraid to be wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So, being wrong is, or what's the acronym? Failing, or the acronym for fail is first attempt in learning.
I have never fucking heard that one in my life. First attempt in learning. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
I can see it.
There's a very positive spin to fail, right?
Yeah. True.
So yeah, I mean, if we're wrong on anything, definitely call us out. It's a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, like, I really want, like, what we're doing. I want to build like a legit community of people. Like, we're kind of doing that in Decentraland. Like, if you watch the podcast, we've been the last 2 or 3 months, we've been nothing but Decentraland. Yeah, and we're finally. I mean, we're not done with Decentraland. It's just we're taking a little break.
Yeah.
Game Jam's done.
Yeah.
You know, and we're taking a breather. We're exploring our options, you know, taking a look. Like, there's a lot more to crypto than just, you know, our little bubble.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's so many, like, you know, we were looking at a video that was maybe like 2 years old, and they were talking about prices when it was 2015. Yeah. And we saw the price of Ethereum in 2015 at 85 cents.
Yeah, like in 2014, 2015, somewhere around there.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to make the same mistake again, because these things operate in cycles.
Yeah,
so we want to discover the next Ethereum. We want to discover, you know, all the new things that are going to be coming up. And one of the things that we're going to start diving deeper into is DeFi.
For sure.
And even Nodari brought up DeFi.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer, right? Like the emphasis on, like, you know, banking the unbanked is like growing. It's like a growing sentiment in the crypto world, because it's like an obvious
Well,
it's
think
an
about
obvious
it.
market that because like people who are in first world environments, they don't see the benefit in cryptocurrency in a way,
Sure. Yeah.
or not as easily as somebody who doesn't even have access to like
Yeah,
financial
absolutely.
infrastructure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's an easier sell to them, so they're gonna be the more.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the benefit is not necessarily so much that they're getting access to a financial system. It's more of like there's a new participant in the market now that can buy products eventually. That can spend money now.
That's why Facebook is.
Oh yeah, they're so heavy on this.
Yeah, because they know
this
that
is
a way to on-ramp billions of people into their fucking play Farmville or whatever the fuck they're gonna do on Facebook. But dude, imagine they're building a Decentraland competitor called Horizon, dude.
Yeah.
What do you think these people are gonna transact with?
Yeah.
Libra.
Yeah, that's right.
That's gonna be their fucking VR currency.
And it's important for them to use Libra because they don't have to deal with like fiat regulations.
Exactly.
Going from one coast to another.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make we'll cut this podcast and then like make a separate one or something.
Yeah,
for this Congress hearing or something, like a reaction video.
So I was thinking, strategy for that was maybe we wait
like highlights
for the highlights, like on
sitting here for like 4 hours. Sounds like a drag.
Yeah,
like watching it.
Maybe we should just watch it like leisurely, like, but then we go and find some highlights, and then we do another podcast on that.
Yeah, or we just wait for someone else to chop it up, make the highlights. I mean, that's what we did last time.
Yeah. I mean, see, last time I actually listened to the whole thing, and then I found like the highlights on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Yeah.
You had like 10,000 windows open.
Yeah.
Little segments. Now, this is more interesting. This is the Zuckerberg himself,
on
dude.
Libra. Yeah.
I kind of do want to watch the whole thing. But yeah, we'll definitely have a reaction to that too.
What else? So I really enjoyed that podcast or that interview with Nodari.
Yeah, man, we need to get more. I don't know how, but
So we're gonna try to get what's his name, John McAfee.
Oh shit! Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get him on and shoot the shit with him.
Yeah,
and also we can have his wife join as well, Janice.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to her about how she tames such a wild man.
Lots of booze and cocaine, and lots of hookers and stuff. That guy's living, dude. I don't know, man. He's such a fucking character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's unreal. Like I definitely want to ask him about like how because he was driving the market for a while in 2017, like for legit the altcoin market. Like he would make a call.
He was getting paid too.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
By these coins for him to show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask him too.
Yeah,
and maybe that's just a myth that he was getting paid, and he can clarify.
Sure.
I mean, he's probably going to say no, he wasn't paid, but there's no.
He'll probably say, yeah, I was paid, and what? What are you going to do about it, bitch? That's probably what he's going to say. Do something.
I mean, he was saying that he was going to run for president.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, about that too.
We can ask him
what he thinks about Trump.
Yeah, ask him what he thinks about Trump and Andrew Yang.
Yeah. Like, fuck both of them. It's like, I'm the real
I'm
president. It's like, I run shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll try to get him on. And
if not him, then hopefully we'll find some more cool people to talk to.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll just, just Decentraland it up. Whatever comes to mind. There's always something interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, DeFi, though, dude.
DeFi, we're going to get a deep dive in DeFi.
Yeah, we need to, right?
That's a good name for the actual podcast.
Deep dive into DeFi?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's like a little rap bar right there. Deep dive into DeFi. Yeah, it'd be freaking cool, man. Like, if we can really deep, like you just said, get to the nuts and bolts of what this DeFi thing is.
Yeah.
Get some people in here. Like, what's the long-term vision? How?
And if really bull runs are governed by like technical breakthroughs, DeFi is the only thing that we've seen that's close to a technical breakthrough.
Yeah, my only problem is it's not as exploitable as the ICOs were. Yeah, because I think that's what drives like mania.
But it depends. Like Cindicator has their own Cindicator coin. Maybe these DeFi tokens have their own like maker.
But they don't do anything different is what I'm saying. Like the .com bubble was like exploitable because
but
all you have to do is
it's still
put
speculative. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all you need. That's all you need from these DeFi tokens to be speculative. Like MakerDAO is speculative.
But how many of these can you really have? Like the .com bubble, you could do. There's an infinite of like I'm gonna do shoes.com.
Well, how many?
All of a sudden, I could have a multi-million-dollar IPO.
Yeah, but how many
How many
cryptocurrencies exist that are just currencies?
Like the majority of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you can have DeFi tokens in the DeFi ecosystem, there's different players.
It's true,
and they can have their own token, and
that's why I never invested in like cryptocurrencies, like competing against Bitcoin, because there's literally almost nothing. There's almost nothing unique about them. It's like it's Bitcoin with like a little bit of an alteration.
Well,
maybe
it's
like the
like
consensus.
Litecoin. There's 210 million Litecoins out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was so for me. I stayed away from that because when I analyzed it, I was like, dude, how could you possibly predict which one of these like Bitcoin ripoffs is gonna moon?
Yeah,
it's a lot easier to find like platforms that were actually innovating in a way, trying to actually solve scalability issues and stuff. So I don't know, DeFi. We'll see, man.
Oh yeah, I just got an email from Nodari. It says, "Hi Will, just wanted to say thanks to you and Iman. It was nice to meet you. I really love the podcast and appreciate you having me. Kind regards, Nodari."
What a nice fella.
Yeah,
nice guy. Thanks, Nodari, man. You're killing it, man. You're only 27. You're freaking probably rolling in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're doing good things out there.
So quick update. The markets are bleeding to death. Shit, man.
Let's pull up a chart real quick and then we'll wrap it up and, hit the bar and freaking drink my sorrows away. Like losing more and more money, dude. Doesn't matter, man. We're long-term hodlers, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Where we at? $74.
Yeah, man, that's.
I mean,
you said we were going down to 6,000
a long
time ago.
Yeah,
and we're definitely approaching that mark.
Yeah, more than likely, I guess. But yeah, there has to be like a turnaround around December. I'm thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Around December,
for sure. The it's gonna rally at least a little bit. For the halvening.
Yeah.
But I think the real rally will happen post halvening.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this last night, man. It's like, let's pull up. Should we say that like that chart, that non-linear regression chart?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Let me
like when you look at this chart, like I do this like it's like a ritual now. Like every quarter or something, I'll just look at this Bitcoin prediction chart just to kind of like feel good. Feel good about life. Feel like I got nothing to worry about, dude. This motherfucking chart is so accurate that like I don't even have to worry about the ups and downs. Like, you know what I mean? No, look at the first one.
I want to see an updated one.
That is updated. There we go. Look at that shit, dude. Yeah, see, I look at this. This is like my hope. You know what I mean? For about 10 years now, we have a 10-year consistency.
So we saw first. Let's give the story for this.
Yeah,
you sent me this video in I don't know 2018.
Like whenever I first found out you were getting into crypto.
Yeah,
like dude, Will. Like I saw Will join Telegram.
Yeah,
and immediately I was like, dude, Will's in crypto now. I was like, dude, since when did you get in? He's like, just now, man. It was like I bought like every shitcoin imaginable. At the top.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, bad move, man.
And we were shit, that was like 2017, right?
Like early 2018, yeah, something like that.
So but you sent me a video of
a dude
of this chart in 2015, 2016.
It was a guy named Tommy World, and I'd like to get him on the podcast someday, actually. Tommy World Power? Not Powder.
It's an energy guy, right?
Yeah, he started Energy. I would love to get him on the podcast. I've been following him because he had a video that he made a video with this chart. It was pretty much nothing but this chart on his YouTube
and it was
screen.
missing from this section on.
Yeah, because he made it in 2015.
Correct.
So he was like, check out this data. Like it's so far, it's following this curve perfectly. And then I saw it in 2017. So then I looked at that point. If you could put the cursor on it, the 2017 point.
Yep.
Right there. What does it say it's going to do? It's going to hit 10,000. That's exactly what it did. I mean, it broke through, which it always does, right? Whenever it hits the line, it always breaks through a little bit.
But you know what? You know what he was saying is that this curve, it's regressing, right? It's a nonlinear regression, right?
Yeah.
And early on, the acceleration was high, right? So you had these like extreme breakthrougs.
Extreme.
It gets smaller and smaller, right?
Which is how it's supposed to go.
Well,
it's like
for sure,
less volatile to the market. Yeah.
I think what I was going to say was that once it gets to the end of 2021, which we think is going to peak like this and then start crashing for the next 18 months.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like it right now,
but it's not going to go too far beyond this nonlinear regression line. That's my point. Is that this is like there's a huge volume here, but the volume here is smaller and smaller, and then this is like barely going to break through.
But barely breaking through is like $100,000 difference.
150,000, yeah.
Yeah, like if it barely breaks through, it could be 150, 200,000. Like
for sure.
Like Bitcoin, like when it broke 10K, it took it like a week to get to 20,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, that's just driven by retail mania, retail exuberance.
Yeah.
The same exact thing's going to happen. What we've been predicting around 2021, something like that.
I mean, these are heartbeats. I mean, look at this. This peak,
exactly.
This peak was at the end of 2013. This peak is at the end of 2017. How many years is that? 4 years.
Yeah.
You go from here to 2011. It's not 4 years, but that's because Bitcoin was started 4 years before 2013.
Yeah.
Right. So this peak compared to nothing, that's 1,000,000% gain right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're predicting is that we're going to see in 4 years another peak, and 4 years from now it's going to be at the end of 2021. We're going to see that peak.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have like a prolonged See that crypto winter was because of the whole Mt. Gox debacle thing.
Yeah,
2013. I don't think it'll be that long. I think it'll be more like
more shallow.
I don't know. I think we're just gonna recover quicker, is what I'm saying, or like become bullish a lot quicker.
Oh, so you're saying? Well,
I don't think it'll be like some super long trough.
So you don't think it'll be this long? Like this is.
So.
I mean, the bear market here was really 2 years long, 2013 to about 2015.
Yeah, if that's the case, then we have another year of bear. If it was gonna,
which I don't think it's.
That means if we were to continue into this bearish trend,
let's move this to this is 2017 right here. This mark right here.
Okay.
We've spent 2018 in a complete bear market. We hit the low point, and now it's starting to recover.
Yeah, that's true. I guess this chart isn't like completely up to date. So
let's move 2017 this point here to this point.
Okay, yeah. So it pretty much has been a 2-year bear market. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It'll take another 2 years of bullishness.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's about to start, because if we're correct in our interpretation of like what this market represents, it's kind of like it has a rhythm and flow to it based on this halvening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean,
the price has to start going up pre-halvening, because it always has historically.
True.
You know what I mean? If it doesn't this time around, there's something wrong.
The last halvening was in 2016.
And so your bullish trend is beginning. That's when the market
begins
reversed.
before that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It begins before that because people are anticipating.
Exactly.
And perhaps we may not see a bullish trend towards the next halvening just because people are a little bit more savvy. And so there might be a much higher uptrend after, in my opinion, just because people are already anticipating it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when our prices went from 3,000 to like 14,000, that's already taking into account the halvening.
Yeah.
And so right now, there's not going to be, I don't think you're going to go much higher than 10,000 in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I do.
Because I think the range between 6,000 and 10,000 is already accounting for the halvening event. That's sort of like what you were saying before. Sort of like what you were saying before. Like, I think when we were going through this little bull run here, like you were saying that that bull run is happening because it's taking into account the halving event that's coming up.
Yeah, that's I was like, it's priced in. That's what's driving this parabolic growth.
And
right?
so now, once we get closer to the halving, you're not going to see prices beyond $6,000 and $10,000. You'll start breaking that point once after the halving.
I think we're going to see like a slow uptrend. When is it happening? In May or June of next year?
May 2020.
I'm going to predict we're going to get back to 14,000 before then. And then it's going to dip back down to like sub 10K.
Nope.
And then we're going to take off from there.
That's exactly what happened before. Shit is not happening the same this time.
Yes, it will.
No.
At the end of the day, we have no fucking idea, right? Maybe we should get on Cindicator.
No, I know, but we're saying this so we can have a record here.
Okay. All right.
So you're saying that it's before the halving, it's going to go around the range of 14,000.
Of what? Because that's the peak of this that parabolic run up.
Yeah.
It's not going to be parabolic. It's going to be a slow uptrend, I think.
So then, just to keep things simple, my prediction is we won't see 14,000 until a little bit after the halving.
Sure.
Just
so
because
that's like we're arguing about like maybe like a month or two difference,
Yeah.
Because like I'm saying it could hit 14K and then it's going to correct from there. And you're saying it's just not going to do anything.
It's not going to do anything
until after the halving.
Yeah.
But that's never happened. Always prices always go up.
No, I know, but people are savvy now. That's what I'm saying is that it's not going to happen because people know the
price.
But
just because people know doesn't mean people aren't going to buy into that speculation. That's what people do. They speculate. Like they're all thinking the same thing we're thinking. We're like. So it's like self-fulfilling in a way. It's
my prediction would be wrong if we get like 100 million people into crypto before the halving. Then you're right.
You don't need to get 100 million people into crypto. At 14,000, we were there a couple months ago. We're not at 100 million people. It's literally we're just going back to where we were a couple months ago.
But the halving is such a large speculation event.
It is.
That's going to attract
only
people.
One, really.
Yeah, so only one, really.
I don't think it's going to attract more people. People are going to come in whenever this thing naturally passes previous all-time highs. Because then the media is going to start making headlines about this thing. Oh, shit, Bitcoin broke 20,000.
But the headlines for the halving is going to be huge, too.
No, it's not, dude.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, man. Do you think, the average retail trader gives a fuck about the halving?
Hell yeah,
no,
dude.
they don't.
Hell yeah.
I'm telling you right now, dude. The average retail guy
You want to know why?
Care.
You want to know why? Because it's an actual event Bitcoin is going through.
Try explaining that to the average retail investor. They're not even going to understand what a halving means.
People in crypto right now, they'll know what that means.
People in crypto. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And then, dude, think about it from the retail perspective. If you know an asset is going to be constricted at May 2020,
but they don't know is what I'm saying. But retail investors, they don't get sold on technical shit. They get sold on hype and
that's the
bullshit.
Hype, dude. That's the hype.
That hype's been around though, man. We all
Bitcoin is now it's the inflation rate of Bitcoin is now less than the United States inflation rate. That's that's a huge headline, dude. Yeah, it's a headline for any common person to understand. Is wow, Bitcoin is being constricted more, so it's a buying time.
No, I mean for sure people will trickle in. I think, but I don't think the masses will show up until the masses react to price. They don't react to fundamentals. They don't react to
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
All they react to is money on the screen.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've already have history of Bitcoin being $20,000, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so people, once they hear, well, Bitcoin was at 20K, Bitcoin's being constricted now in May 2020, that's a buy signal for every common folk.
No.
Dude,
I think you're over.
But here's the thing. So
you're giving the common folk too much credit.
No, no.
As cynical as that sounds for me,
that's not too much credit.
Yes, it is.
That's the most basic economy 101.
Dude, but no, because I was around in 2017. I remember what people were saying.
But that's
that
the thing.
That
was 2017, dude.
Yeah.
People are they understand a little bit more about what's going on.
No, dude, they don't. The people who the people who are still here, the you and I's of this crypto world, we're not going anywhere because
we understand.
Yeah, we understand. In moments like this in bear markets, this is where the money actually gets made. Because if you're buying now, you're the future whales.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
But the people who caused that 2017 uprise, they're gone. They're long gone. It's not like they're keeping up with this shit, dude. They're just The money left, so they left with it. You know what I mean? So they're gonna come back once the green light is on again. You know what I mean? It's just psychology, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, but so did you predict that we were gonna see $14,000 like recently, like 2 months ago?
Did I predict that?
Yeah.
14,000.
The answer is no, you didn't.
Not that fast, but I thought we would get there by like the halvening. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like
yeah.
14,000.
But that's what I'm saying is that the 14,000 price that we saw has already taken into account the halvening. Therefore, we're not going to see any price fluctuations beyond $10,000 roughly until after the halvening.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
It could happen. I don't know, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What really matters is where Bitcoin's going in the long term.
Well,
I mean, these are just
it only matters
short term ups and downs.
Well, it only matters is for us trying to get more Bitcoin.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to be buying now. Like,
yeah. Right now, right now, $7,500 Bitcoin. That's
not
pretty
bad.
good.
Yeah.
Like if it goes down to 6,000, you didn't lose that much money, and you're still, you're gonna reap the benefits soon.
Yeah, I think like the upside is way greater.
Yeah.
Which, saying that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it does sound crazy.
But because that's why I keep looking at this chart.
Well, and then I go back to yesterday when we were watching that video of Ethereum being 85 cents in 2014, 2015. It's like, we're wondering, like, what were we doing? Why were we sleeping so hard on an 85 cent, Ethereum? In the future, when it's like 2023 and the bear market price of Bitcoin is like, $80,000. People are going to be looking at our video at an $8,000 Bitcoin and wondering where the hell were they?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like by like 2030, we're going to have like 50% global adoption of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all this stuff. Yeah. And they're going to be, this chart right here is going to be filled out all the way to 2030 or whatever. And you're going to see these beautiful rhythmic,
heartbeat,
these beats, and everyone's going to say to themselves like, how did we not see this happening? Or like, it's like the easiest predictable market of all time. If you're paying attention to it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it just repeats like every 4 years or something. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, again, we're speculating, but that's what we're supposed to do.
We're going to be on the money, man. I'm telling you. It's like, I always go back to that video you sent me. It's like, this guy, so this was 2 years after the video was made, and part of this information was filled in, right? It was only up to like, I think 2013 or some shit. And then we were looking at this in 2018, and exactly what he thought was going to happen happened, just because of this linear regression curve.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, man. This is like the adoption curve too, and like all the signs are there, man. We got Zuckerberg testifying right now in fucking Congress.
Yeah.
A year ago, who would have seen this coming? Nobody.
Nope.
We got Mark fucking Zuckerberg in Congress, like fighting for cryptocurrency, like he wants regulation and all this stuff. He's fighting for the community, like Nodari said it. I think also it's good overall.
Yeah, it is good overall
because it's now the government is like forced to pay attention to the market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got to actually regulate and et cetera, et cetera. And then we got Peter Thiel making $200 million investments in like Bitcoin
Texas
miners and shit.
Yeah.
Like, dude, these are tech titans. These are Silicon Valley titans. They're getting into the crypto space.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say was that the only way that we might be wrong here is that it might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It might be 2020, like mid-2022, we see $150,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's still going to hit it. We can't know exactly when.
Yeah. And like, we don't know what that next Ethereum's going to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, we could like dissect what made Ethereum mania happen. I think we need to like come up with like a ingredients list. Like why did the ICO craze come about?
Yeah.
And then try and identify something in the future. Maybe it hasn't been created yet. I don't know. Like the next speculative bubble. What I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the ICO craze was the ability to do a crowd sale from using cryptocurrencies, and it got out of control.
Yeah, it goes like literally anybody could just
make a currency,
create their own token.
Yeah,
a speculative token, which is Of course, people are gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I think Chico Crypto's right. I think a technical achievement is gonna contribute to a huge bull run.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Either way, I think Bitcoin on its own is just gonna. It's gonna, like I said, it just does what it does. If it's a rhythm, it's got a rhythm and flow, and as it progresses through this rhythm, it's just gonna bring in more liquidity to the market because more people are gonna be buying Bitcoin, chasing that trend, that historical trend that it always repeats, and then naturally, organically, alts are gonna flourish again just from the added market cap, right?
Absolutely.
But not all of them, I don't think. Like, projects like Cindicator and stuff like that, the ones that are actually doing something will probably benefit the most. But who knows? We might see like an ICO 2.0 craze. Maybe ICOs aren't dead. They're dead for now. Well, like maybe when the bull market returns, all of a sudden, like people want to start reinvesting in ICOs again.
Yeah.
But they might just have like higher standards. Like, you need a prototype this time, motherfucker. We're not buying your white paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because ICOs, it's not like it's some sort of like flawed model. ICOs are still valuable, I feel.
Yeah.
For crowdfunding.
No, I totally agree.
Token distribution, all that stuff.
It's still useful. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the ICO phase is going to be constricted only to the extent of requiring a prototype.
Yeah. I think it'll be more regulated, obviously, in the United States. It'll be just like the IPO mania was in the .com bubble, We're going to have U.S. regulated exchanges, Coinbase most likely, Binance USA, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're going to be only IEOs. Yeah. Then maybe Americans can actually invest, but probably not. You probably have to be an accredited investor. It's fucking bullshit. What is that?
Dude, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a completed nonlinear regression curve.
Yeah.
And the price here is at $7,000. Roughly.
Yeah, see? It looks pretty, right?
Dude, this is beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Hopefully we make it, Will. At the end of the day.
Oh,
either way, yeah, we're going to keep this podcast going for sure.
Yeah.
We're not making any money, obviously. We've been doing this for what, almost 8 months now or something like that? 7 months?
Something close to that.
Yeah, I don't foresee making money anytime soon either. But it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
it keeps us like up to date and like
forced to like.
Yeah, because we watched that same video they were talking about, Tommy
Rolled Power.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah.
And he said that so he was the one showing these charts, and he said that when the $20,000 run up happened, he wasn't really paying attention, and so he missed.
He got distracted.
Yeah, he missed the top on exiting.
He probably was like fucking around with chicks. That's like the biggest distraction in the world, dude.
Yeah,
that fucked me over. Like, I got hella distracted by women. It's like, god damn it. She's like, I missed my cell signal, damn it. I was like out on a date or something.
Right.
But
so yeah, I mean, it's easy to miss this stuff because once it breaks $20,000, like all bets are off. It could do anything.
I think it's just gonna do what it did.
Yeah,
do what it always does. That's what I'm saying. It's like so hard to to fathom now because it hasn't happened yet, and it just seems so obvious and like easy.
Yeah,
that like there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way it's just gonna keep doing it over and over and over again, right? So naturally you want to be skeptical.
Right. But yeah, so make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner, and for those listening, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like.
Yeah, and we're still working on
comment.
Oscar's still over there developing Metaverse.
Yeah, Metazone.
Metazone.
Metazone.io.
Still going to contribute to the Decentraland ecosystem. Still a hard believer. We're going to try not talk so much about it.
Yeah.
Not as much.
Yeah.
Unless there's a new contest coming up, then we're all in again.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
Out.